everyone, it's Moose, and thank you so much for joining me back here. I have some pre-filming to do, so if you see this setup in this outfit a couple times here in the next couple of weeks, that's why. Today we are going to do a tag I saw over on Books with Angie's channel. I will link her down below. I talk about her fairly often here on this channel. We are going to be doing the spoiler tag today. I consider myself kind of a stickler when it comes to spoilers. Not so much when I talk about things here on my channel, but in terms of what I want to know when I'm going to read a book. So I'm more willing to give more details about a book that I've read, just because I know most people aren't quite as hesitant or deterred as I am by information when it comes to the books that they read. So I tend to give more information because I know that's probably what people want, but myself, I consider kind of a stickler. I'm sure we'll get into it with some of the questions. So let's get into it. Question number 1, what do you consider a spoiler? Again, I'm more apt to share more information if I've read the book, whereas I don't want to hardly know anything if I'm getting ready to read the book. I guess a general answer for this question would be major plot points. I don't want to know if a character dies, who that character might be. Romance elements I don't particularly want spoiled for me. You know, if a character, some books are kind of obvious. If you're reading a romance book, it's pretty obvious the two main characters are going to be in love, right? Or at least infatuated with each other. So I guess it kind of depends on the genre, but just major plot points in general. Question number 2 kind of goes along with what I just said. Does the genre you're reading impact what you consider to be a spoiler? Absolutely. Again, if you're reading a romance book, of course there's going to be romance. Of course, probably the main two characters are going to be in that romance together, right? And a lot of the times they end up together at the end. That's just how that genre goes. Fantasy books, which are the main genre that I read, are probably a little more obscure when it comes to spoilers, just because it's such a broad range of things that could happen. I think fantasy's more so the genre where I don't want to know if anybody dies. I don't want to know how it ends. I don't want to know how it ends with any book, just in general. I don't read a whole lot of like mysteries or thrillers or anything like that, but kind of spoiling the resolution I think is different for that genre. So yeah, absolutely, the genre kind of determines what could be a spoiler. Question number 3, all the best bits are in the trailer. Sometimes a synopsis can be too detailed. Do you research books prior to reading them, or do you prefer to know nothing about the book? I don't want to know anything. Most of the books on my shelf, most of the books that I've read, I don't know anything going into it. I don't know the characters' names. I don't know what the main plot point is. I don't want to know anything. I hardly ever read the little blurb, the synopsis on the back of the book either. I want to know as little as possible when going into a book, really. It's bit me in the butt a couple of times. I've been really excited to read a book just because it was kind of so hyped on BookTube or something like that. And I didn't really know what it was about, and then I go to read it and I'm like, this really isn't for me. So it has bit me in the butt a couple of times, but in general, that's what I enjoy. That's how I like to read. I don't want to know anything. Again though, I know most people aren't really like that, at least the people that I've talked to. So when I make videos, I tend to give a little more detail than I would personally like if I was going to read the book. Just because I know a lot of people don't like to waste their time. They don't want to go into something blind. They want to know that whatever they're getting themselves into, they're going to enjoy. So, question number 4, sometimes the introduction or translator's notes can spoil the ending, especially for classics. Has this ever happened to you? Yes, I majored in English when I was in undergrad, so this happened to me all the time, and it's just something that I kind of had to get used to. We would be reading a book in class or something like that, and the professor would just start talking about the ending of the book, and I'm like, we haven't got there yet. Like, I've always been a reader, and I've always been a reader that despises spoilers, so that was really an adjustment that I had to get used to, just the conversations and stuff in college. And a lot of the times we were required to read the introduction or the footnotes and stuff like that. On a personal type of note, I don't read those really when I'm reading for personal enjoyment. I have a bug bite right here, if you're wondering what that is. Yeah, I don't tend to read those. If I do, it's after the fact. I don't read them while I'm reading the story. So my husband, on the other hand, is the opposite. He loves classics and he always reads like the extra stuff. So, but I don't. Question number 5, name a time somebody spoiled a novel for you. I avoid spoilers like the plague. The only one I can think of, and it wasn't intentional, I think I was just like on book Twitter or something and I saw it. Six of Crows, the second book, Crooked Kingdom, Matthias. That's it. Pretty sure that one was spoiled for me, which is such a big one. And whatever. Because I don't want to spoil it for anybody else if you haven't read it. Question number 6. Have you ever spoiled a novel for somebody else? Kind of. I'm sure I have here on BookTube, and if I have, I'm very sorry. I try to be selective about what I say when I'm talking about books in terms of spoilers. Reading vlogs are kind of fair game, so if you watch my reading vlogs and it's about a specific book, I'll usually say if there's going to be spoilers, and I usually keep the spoilers for the end, where I kind of just have like a free talk where I pretty much talk about whatever I want to, but I'm usually pretty good about making it known when that's happening, about specifying, hey, I'm going to be talking about stuff. If you haven't read it, maybe don't watch this. But there is one thing I can remember that wasn't really technically just the books, but that story in general. I took a course, again, when I was in undergrad, it was a Shakespeare course about the histories. So like Henry IV, Henry V, Richard, those books, okay? So I took a course on that, and we talked a little bit about how it compared to Game of Thrones. That's just how this professor, who I really enjoyed, kind of tied it into modern popular stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so I accidentally spoiled Game of Thrones for somebody, and I felt so bad. Something that happens with Jon Snow, a big plot point with Jon Snow, I spoiled, and just in the conversation in that class, and I felt so bad. I felt so bad because I hate spoilers. I hate getting spoiled. And so I said it, and this girl that I had the class with was like, wait, what? And I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. Anyways, I'm sorry. Number 7, if spoilers ruin novels, are there some authors or genres that you can't reread? I have my select few things that I reread. Maybe, again, I don't read a whole lot of like thrillers or mysteries or anything like that, but maybe those would be the only thing I can think of. But at the same time, I definitely want to reread the Becker Cooper trilogy, and I would kind of consider those like mystery detective novels. And knowing how they end, I don't think would deter me from rereading them. So I guess my general answer would be no, as long as I really enjoyed them the first time. I feel like if I'm going to reread, though, it's usually more than just about the plot. I usually enjoy the characters, I usually enjoy the world, and I usually consider spoilers to be plot-based. So I guess my general answer is no. Maybe mysteries if I read those. And then question number 8, when reviewing, are you spoiler free? Does this limit your ability to discuss? I've kind of already touched on this. My answer is yes and no. If I am talking about a book, whether it be in a dedicated review video or like a dedicated vlog, reading vlog, I do tend to stay spoiler free for the most of it. I'll talk general things for the most of the video, but I do have a section at the end typically where I talk freely about anything that I had thoughts about, maybe things that bothered me, things that I really liked, things that excited me. So yes and no. I do keep it spoiler free for people who don't want to be spoiled, and then people who may have read it already or don't care about spoilers, I do have a section where I talk freely in that as well. So yeah, that was the spoiler tag. Again, I don't want to know anything about a book. The bare minimum. For example, I just read The Fires of Vengeance, which is the second book to The Rage of Dragons. I knew nothing about The Rage of Dragons going into it other than it probably had dragons, considering it was in the name. That's all I knew about it. But if I was going to receive a synopsis of that book, the most I would want to know is that it's a revenge story in which something happens to this guy and he kind of dedicates his life to revenge, and there of course are dragons, and there is this kind of other world that people draw power from. That's it. That's all I would want to know. I wouldn't want to know anything else. But I am curious to know what you consider a spoiler. So if you've done this tag, please link it down below. If you don't feel like doing this tag, if you don't have a channel yourself, please let me know down below what you consider a spoiler so I can kind of be more aware and conscious of that moving forward. When I talk about books here on my channel, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys because I hate it when it happens to me. So let me know what you consider a spoiler. Am I being too reserved? Do you want to know more when I talk about a book? Let me know. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe down below and leave a comment. Feel free to do this as well. Let me know if you do this because you watched my video. Again, I did this because I saw it on Books with Angie's channel. Go check her out down below. You guys are awesome. I am so thankful for you. And we'll be back here next time, guys. See ya!